How's it going, guys? It's Pico Lopez here from Shamrock Rovers. Make sure to subscribe to Irish Footy Vlogs for all your League of Ireland content.
Hi guys, welcome to the Premier Edition review show. And I suppose, Philip, we're going to have to start off here with Shamrock Rovers beating Harps 3-0 at Dallas Stadium. Look, it was a good win in isolation. Mandrew twice. Emaku, I think I have it right, on 83. He was good when he came on, actually. But I suppose, look, Shamrock Rovers have been brilliant this season. They're the champions, 19-time winners. It was coming, let's be honest about it. But the game itself, that early goal really settled things down after 4 minutes and really led to a carnival atmosphere, didn't it? And if I'm honest, I think Rovers could have been probably 4 or 5 up at half time, in all honesty. Second half, they settled down. There was a lot of, Harps didn't really offer. And they'll be disappointed, actually, with their performance. We'll talk about them in a minute. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, look, to be honest, Keith, I've ran out of superlatives. It hasn't been brilliant this year in terms of the standard or the quality of football that we played, in contrast to previous years. But a team that just doesn't know when to give up, constantly comes up with goals at the right time, and there's very little that you can actually criticise them about, because when you look at it, they do what they can with the squad they have. Bradley has done a magnificent job. I was speaking with him there after the game last night, and just the passion you can get from that he has for that football club.
What's he good at, in your opinion, as a manager?
He's brought the club together. He mentioned it previously. I won't be too repetitive, but he did mention how the club was kind of falling apart internally. Look, he is our Jurgen Klopp. And has he
changed the dressing room? I know Rovers have a lot of good players, individual players, but they had a lot of good individual players before. Has he changed the dressing room over time, do you think, and brought in this winning mentality and togetherness? Is that what he's done? Is that his biggest trait?
Yeah, and that is pretty much what it is. But like, his recruitment's been brilliant. Do you know what I mean? He's not brought in lads. Like, I think it just goes to show Danny Mandrew, like, the job he's done with him. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, Danny Mandrew, we all know what the story was with him at Bohs last season, wasn't getting a look in, and like, do you know what I mean? Players
12 league goals this season for Danny Mandrew.
There you go. Do you know what I mean? And
no penalties.
A few years ago, you've got the likes of the Brennan brothers coming in, and you think, these might turn around and do something like what Danny's done, but it's just he knows how to get the most out of people, and that's the thing about Stephen is he's just so good when it comes to football, in terms of how to deal with situations, how to respond to the media when pressure is on. Like, do you know what I mean? He's just a complete article when it comes to a football manager in this country, and I think, I'll be honest with you, just the way things are going, I think Rovers might struggle to hold on to him. Just the success, the winning mentality, it's breathtaking. And look, the game, I don't really remember too much about it last night, Keith, to be honest with you.
I was there, but I was obviously sober myself.
I remember.
Any questions, ask me.
Yeah. I actually, you mentioned it there pretty well. It kind of settled down with the early goal, and it was a bit of a carnival atmosphere. I remember the first 4 minutes, and then after that, really, I just remembered the other 2 goals going in.
Yeah,
it was just brilliant. And the fact we'd done it at home, we didn't have to be fair. Well done to the Pats, because they've done us a favour, like beating Dundalk. Do you know what I mean?
It wouldn't have been the same, would it? It really wouldn't have been the same.
No, it wouldn't have been. And no, listen, the fact with the restrictions and all, I just think it was exactly what fans needed, I've said it so many times, Keith, this club has done so much for me personally. And just that was just the cream on top of the cake there last night. It was phenomenal.
Phil, I'll just jump in there quickly. People, I suppose, sometimes forget that. I know Rovers won it last year, but the fans didn't see them win it last year. They weren't at the ground. They weren't able to go. So it worked out brilliantly that they could win it in Dallas Stadium for a lot of those. I mean, you have a lot of people who have kids and stuff. And I know from my personal thing, like to bring a kid to a ground to watch any team play and see them win a trophy, let's say, it is fantastic. And that was robbed of them last year. So it was great for those moments. And, you know, when I'm a bit withdrawn from what yous are going through and I'm there, I can see all this stuff going on, like, you know what I mean? So it's great, like.
Yeah, and like, I know you didn't see me last night, Keith, but like myself and a couple of friends, like very emotional. A lot of people are very emotional, you know, because these lads, like, do you know what I mean? And every player in the division, like, obviously everything stopped there last year at one stage, and look, football was pretty much the only thing happening in the country, like, do you know what I mean? That's at one stage now when it did come back, but like, I think it's just. It's a nice ending to a shit chapter, if you know what I mean. Like, obviously the whole COVID situation's not done yet, but you'd hope when football comes back next season that you'd be close to some sort of, you know what I mean, normality returning, because it's still not normal, let's be honest. But no, it's fantastic, Keith, and I suppose, like, one thing I did want to mention as well, Keith, was fair play to the Harps fans that did make the journey, or the lads that were in Dublin. I don't know exactly how many travelled down, but I made sure to go over and tip my hat to them then after the game, and I hope they stay up. They should, if they finish in the playoff spot, which I'm sure they probably will. I think they'll be. But I think they'll be good enough, Keith. I think we'd agree they'd be good enough to stay up.
It was a very difficult game, Philip, I have to say, because they were well beaten, particularly in the first half. But I do think Rovers put on the handbrake in the second half a little bit. But I think, without going into too much, to do with game Monday against Drogheda, I think in their heads they targeted that a bit more, because they knew even if they went full at it and played Olabi from the start, so maybe one or two other players from the start, they might have felt, well, they could have lost anyway. Whereas you save all them for Drogheda, it gives them a better chance. But as you say, they are in the playoffs as we speak. They're ninth in the table, a point behind Waterford. It's starting to look like it might be coming down to them too, because you just feel like Dundalk will get enough wins, particularly at home. But overall, I think they'll be disappointed, because to concede that early goal was a killer for them, and it set the precedent. Yeah, it set the precedent for the rest of the half, for certainly. And as I said, Rovers went in 2-0 at half time, but it really could have been 4 or 5. McGinley made some good saves. There were some little flashes across the goals, some chances. And and by the way, I thought Mandrew was electric in that first half, by the way. I thought he, as I said before, he's not like Jack Bourne. He's not going to pick it up and dictate, but he's working off Gaffney, you see. He was very close to Gaffney yesterday. And he's so tough to mark. Well. And all he need, and he's so tough to mark. He doesn't need many chances. Danny Mandrew doesn't miss many chances. Yeah. You know?
I think Danny Mandrew has to be shortlisted for Player of the Year, in my opinion. And people might say that's absolutely mad. But just in terms of how he's went about his season, he hasn't had the strongest year, Keith, and you'd agree.
He's got better as it's gone on. He's got better and better. And
I think it's weird, Keith. I think he's at that age now where he's starting to recognise he's not going to be a superstar every week. And it's about if you're not going to be a superstar every week, you've got to. Am I still there? Have you lost me?
No, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not going to be a superstar every week, try be relevant and try be in the game. When that one chance does come, take it. And Danny has done that. And look, I think last night, from what I can remember, anyways, was one of the stronger performances this year. I just thought he was really good. And as I mentioned before, like, he had a shocking phase before he came to Rovers, but his career has taken off again. Do you know what I mean? And if he can keep going the way he has been the last couple of weeks, the way he's been getting better and better and better, look, there's no reason why you won't see him in an Ireland squad or something like that, you know, because he has got the talent. You've often seen him score some wonderful goals, and I think what happened though last night, I think it was great that it was him in front of the south stand, in front of the stand, for the goal, because at the end of the day, he had got a tough time there a few weeks ago from Bohs and all that sort of crap. But no, it was great for him. Delight for the whole club, and no one's come near us this year to become.
No, it's fully deserved. Congratulations, Shamrock Rovers, on their 19th title. Be interesting to see if they can make it 20 next season. But we'll move on to Longford Town.
Here we go, 3 in a row.
I shouldn't have said that. We'll move on to Longford Town and St. Patrick's Athletic. Finished Longford 1, St.Pats 3. Matty Smith with a hat-trick here. Perfect hat-trick, Philip. Left foot, right foot and a header. Alfie Lewis with the other goal. And Dean Williams actually scoring for Longford, which looked offside, by the way, I have to say. But look, it didn't really matter. Pats, from their point of view, have confirmed they'll be in Europe for next season. So, they have a big cup final coming up and they're in a good position in terms of the next couple of weeks. It's cotton wool stuff, isn't it, really? Big win for them. And as I said, they're in Europe. And ultimately, it's a good season for Pats as well, isn't it, to be fair?
Yeah, I think I'll need to pop down to Inchicore to get myself a jersey, to be honest with you. If that would shower win that cup, it'll be a disaster. So, I have to say, Keith, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Didn't see anything of this game. As you can imagine, it was a mad night. Yeah, well, you know what I mean? You constantly make sure to watch them, and that's what's always stood to you.
If I can.
If you can. Yeah. At the end of the day, we've discussed that in terms of time and finding time to watch games. It can be hard. But no, look, I think in Pats have been very good this season without being world beaters. Went about their job. I thought they've got really, really better towards the end of the season, which was funny. I kind of just thought about Pats there for about 4 minutes there. I usually just often think of the league and teams and how they've done. I think Pats done well because there was a phase there when they had a lot of injuries, a lot of suspensions, and we got through that period quite well, Keith, if I can recall. And
did, but that's where they kind of lost. That's where Shamrock Rovers gained on them as well, to be honest. Because you say it was a lot of injuries on the one position. At times you had Lennon playing centre back, and you had the defence was all over the place and different defence every week because of injuries. Desmond is back now, and you can really notice the difference again. Bits and pieces like that, and that's where they're always going to fall in terms of Shamrock Rovers, but not fall in my opinion, because I wasn't expecting them to challenge Shamrock Rovers.
It was a good second.
Exactly, it was a good second, as you say, and they're in Europe now, which is fantastic. It's been a couple of years since Pats have been in Europe as well. And look, I'll talk about Steve O'Donnell a little bit, because I was asking you about Stephen Bradley earlier on, and the thing that popped into my head was it sounds like the start of Steve O'Donnell's career is like Stephen Bradley's career. You know what I mean? Because there was a dressing room, dodgy culture at Pats, you had big names coming in and older players, and they were good players at the club, etc. But the culture wasn't great. O'Donnell definitely 100% has changed the culture. This was his first proper full season as well, messy with COVID and all that kind of thing. But he's definitely changed the culture at Pats. And if he goes on to do even a little bit what Bradley does in the future, it would be fantastic. And if he ended up with a cup, it would just be an unbelievable season, actually, for him.
Yeah, and Keith, and that's right. And it's good to see. I think, Keith, it's gone under the radar. Someone mentioned it a few weeks back. The standard of manager in this country.
Oh yeah.
You think you mentioned it? It is something that lads need to recognise. I was shocked when I heard about Bradley sleeping in Roadstone because of the club and how it was. And I could imagine there's other boys that are. I'd imagine O'Donnell had to do similar stuff when it comes to changing a culture. It's very, very hard to do that.
It's the hardest thing to do, isn't it, Philip?
Yeah, it is. It's bad habits die hard. Do you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you need to persevere, and that's what I have to say. Stephen's done. O'Donnell that is as well at Pats. You mentioned there about the culture being changed. I still think this is probably. I do think there's a bit of a discipline thing still there lingering at the moment. Look, individuals, I think what we're talking about, but that'll iron itself out, and it'd be interesting to see what happens in the off season in terms of who they keep, who they don't keep. I think it's important though this year in terms of the off season for Pats, Keith, because they're in a position now where it can go one way or it can go the other, and they need to get their recruitment spot on next year. If they can get their recruitment spot on, I'm not going to say they'll win a league next year, but they'll be a lot closer than what they are this season. And I think
don't even need to do a lot, Philip. What they need to do is keep more or less what they have and add 2, 3, maybe 4 key signings that could make a serious difference. You're right, because Derry City, we'll talk about Derry in a minute, but Derry City are going to have a good side next season if it improves. It went on. You don't know who else is going to improve as well, so that's the key with Pats for next season, I think, to be honest. I don't know if winning the cup or not makes a difference there. For me, if I was a player, winning the cup or not winning the cup wouldn't make a difference if I wanted to join Pats or not, because you know what I mean, there's a dressing room culture there and how well they've done anyway. But
I think it helped their case though, Pete.
Maybe,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like you think of it, it's a nice pull factor. The fact if they can go out and win the biggest game of the year, let's be honest, it is the biggest game of the year.
They can sell almost. Look, that's our stepping stone, the challenge for the title. They can sell that. Whether they do or not is another question, but that's what you can sell.
And I think as well as that, the cup final, that was a stepping stone for Rovers to realise that, oh God, this is what you can do. Like, do you know what I mean? This winning feeling, like it's mad. Like winning a cup makes a player confident, 10, 20% extra. In my opinion, better with confidence. Do you know what I mean? I think ability-wise, they improve because there's just a rush of. I've seen it with Rovers. There's like a feeling going through a club of we've won a big league or we've won a big cup. Now we need to keep doing it, and we've seen it with Dundalk. We see it with most teams that have spells in this country and anywhere in the world. Do you know what I mean? When they win, they want to win more.
Derry City won by son of Brandywell, and Promise scored early for Bohs, and it was a massive. First of all, it was a massive game. Derry are fourth, Bohs are fifth. Bohs are probably lucky actually the Pats are in the cup final. Otherwise, fourth wouldn't get them into Europe. But this is the 9th time that Bohs have conceded in the last 5 minutes this season, and they've dropped 11 points in the last minute and injury time this season, which is just unbelievable, and it's actually killing them. You give them an extra 5 or 6 points, they're up to third. And it happened at the Brandywell in June. It happened in Brandywell in June earlier on in the season as well. And I've seen the goal as well. I didn't actually get to see this game full. I've seen the others actually, but seen the goal, and it was just like it was just pure panic. It was a cross into the box. There were more Bohs players than Derry players. It actually bypassed a few Bohs players. Boyce managed to get in the end of it and scores. And I've seen them concede that type of goal all season. And in all honesty, it is, I know you're Shamrock Rovers, but it is pulling your hair out stuff. And you're kind of going, like, how can you do this nearly every week? It's really
you made a point there though. Keith, on dropping points in the last certain amount of minutes of the game. Or whatever.
Like they've dropped 11 points. I've read in the from the last minute and injury time combined. Like it's just not good enough.
But they've also dropped points from winning positions against 10 men a couple of times this season. Like doing it against us, and I'm just trying to think of who else they've done it against.
I'm not sure if it was 10 men or not, but remember there were 2 up against Longford and that type of thing. It's just poor. Yeah. There was other games as well, but they're not coming to me, but it's just too many games and it's just not good enough. And his point of view, it keeps them fourth. And as I say, Pat's being in the cup final gives them a good chance of getting into Europe. And I know they're only 2 points ahead of Bohs, but you still have to favour Derry even on a psychological level, wouldn't you? I think.
Yeah. No, 100%. Look, it's just it's back and forth, isn't it? Like, to be honest with you, I personally, I don't know. I don't care how it finishes in a sense, Keith. I think the hangover's kicking in now, but in a way, it's good to see it's still very competitive, Keith.
Yeah,
I think you'll agree on that. It's it's not wrapped up and it's all to play for, and who knows? Like it really could be anyone. Like,
yeah, we'll go on to Sligo and Derry, and Sligo and Drogheda. Sligo beat Drogheda 2-0. Mahon and Kenny with the goals there, but Sligo had 1 and 6. And they get 1 win and basically they're 4 clear of fourth. It's actually mental when you think about it. Like they've been poor for a long, long time, but it looks like now it's very much in their hands. As I said, 4 ahead of Derry, 6 ahead of Bohs. You're probably thinking nearly 4 points and nearly do them. Like you'd expect them to finish third now. And look, they'd be delighted to get that win. Greg Bulger's back, and no surprise when he plays, they usually win because when he's missing, it seems to just fall apart completely, which is scary, really, when you think about it, even though he's a good player. But, Sligo, did it deserve to be third? I suppose they do because no one else is ahead of them, put it that way.
Yeah, and I'm just tipping me hat here. I'm not blowing me out trumpet, but I'm just tipping me hat in acknowledgement that it did say they'd finish in Europe, and I'm pretty sure that's it now for them, Keith. Look, I think Sligo fans in general need to cop on though and realise that they're not as good a side they think. You see what happens when they lose 1 or 2 lads. They are piss poor, like, you know what I mean? And that's not good. That's not good for a club to be doing that. To be fair, they didn't go mad with their budget this year. I don't think they did anyway. So I think they could probably invest when it comes to next year, with the money that they'll get from Europe.
Interesting. Bulger and Buckley have actually, Gary Buckley has signed new contract extensions this week as well. So it's big to get that done, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'd be slightly concerned now in terms of with Bulger, like, because he's getting to that age now where you can't depend on him every week. You know, we've seen this year injuries, suspensions. I just think he's getting to that age where you're kind of looking to replace him. He's looking over his shoulder, wondering, are the club trying to get someone in? I'd imagine that's what they need.
Can't be as reliant on him next season, though. They can't be as reliant on him next season. That's the key thing here, I think.
So the recruitment is very, very important, Keith. But I know you've pretty much hit it all on the head with your quick little analysis of it, Keith. They were very good at the start of the season, but they've been really poor up till lately, you know. And I suppose I wouldn't imagine this game was given to them on a plate, but they needed the result. And look,
I have to say, I did watch it back. It wasn't the best performance for Drogheda at all. They wouldn't mind me saying. James Brown played really well, actually, but overall, Drogheda were poor in the night. So, is it a case at this minute in time that Sligo need the opposition to be poor in the night to get the win? And as I said, they only won it with a late goal as well. Like, it was 1-0 up to 2 minutes to go. Now, they fully deserved the win, don't get me wrong, but Drogheda, it was one of their poor performances of the season. That's not Sligo's fault, as I said, but from Drogheda's point of view, quickly there as well, they only need I think a couple of points, don't they? They only need 3 points, actually. 3 points to guarantee them not finish ninth. I do think they'll get it at some point, but they'll be disappointing enough with the performance they put in last night. They were better than that.
I think we have to play them, if I'm sure. I think we have to play them, which would be nice to see them get it. I think we do.
Rovers might be switched off by then, who knows? Or just, yourself, it happened to Shelbourne, didn't it? So in the first division, so... I
think we have to, but look, I'd imagine, to be honest with you, there's a good link between both of those clubs as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if Rovers did switch off, if you know what I mean. But
no,
I know. Drogheda are a good club, Keith. We both thought they'd do. We didn't think they'd do exceptionally well, but I think they've kind of punched above their weight in the league this year. Some big results, obviously. Form has turned a lot since the start of the season. If I recall, they won 4 in a row at the start. Were they top of the table?
I can't remember it was 4 in a row, but they had a very good start. But look, it was always expected that they'd hit a little bit of a wall. But they've come back with results since hitting walls and stuff. Yeah,
and it's good to see, Keith, because Drogheda is a big club. Do you know what I mean? And like we've discussed this previous shows, like they're not the only club up in Louth, but like at the end of the day, it was good to see them get a couple of results there this year that just kind of said, look, we're probably not the best side in the league. They probably know that themselves, but they're a hard working team, and do you know what I mean? Obviously, I think to be fair to Tim, he had his personal problems this year, and that could have probably had something to do with it as well, in terms of maybe he wasn't 100% there. You know what I mean? There was a couple of interviews as well towards the latter end of the season where he was questioning walking away, and that obviously wasn't nice to see. I wonder if that has anything to do with it, but again, it's look, they've done their job, and I think they'll get those 3 points, or those points that you said that they need to stay up, and well done to them. I'm delighted for them. Good bunch of lads up there as well, as I've always said. Have a lot of time for those boys. So I hope they get that result, and we'll see them next year then.
Speaking about the other Louth club, finished Dundalk 1, Waterford 0. That's Dundalk's 6th home win on the bounce. Daniel Kelly right in half time. And it was a strange game because Paul Martin had a very good game and goal for Waterford, but the goal he conceded, I know you didn't see it, but it was one of them where Kelly was running through, but there were Waterford players back. But Martin comes rushing out towards the edge of the area, do you know what I'm saying? And Kelly just slotted past him. I just felt Martin should have more or less stayed in his line. Don't mean rooted, but you know what I mean, a yard or two off his line. It would have made it more difficult for Kelly. But to be fair, Dundalk deserved to win the game. They're much the better side in the day. Massive win. Gets them up to 42 points. Waterford do have a game in hand on them, as do Harps. But at the same time, you just feel Dundalk are going to do enough, and that quality, the likes of Hooban was good in the night. Duffy has been excellent, I think, the last month, to be fair to him. That quality, you just think it's going to be enough, don't you, in fairness? I know they've had a few bad weeks, but they have enough, and ultimately a good win for them against Waterford.
Yeah, sorry, Keith. 100%. Look, it's... The demise of that club at the moment is very, very, very relevant, I suppose, in terms of other teams' success, with clubs getting into Europe. they probably wouldn't have expected. But
I think their falling down has made the league easy for Shamrock Rovers. It's on them. Do you know what I'm saying? They should have been. What I'm saying is they should have been the team technically who should have been challenging Shamrock Rovers, not a Pats for a while or Sligo for 5 minutes, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand that. I do understand that. Now I look at that and I wouldn't take anything away from us because I thought.
Oh no, I'm not taking away from you.
No, I know that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, I get exactly. But they were supposed to be the team that were to push us. You know what I mean? And let's be honest, at the start of the season, that was all those people were talking about was Rovers and Dundalk, and can Rovers go and do it again?
Some are tipping Dundalk for the title themselves, like.
Yeah, and to be honest with you,
I'll just throw that in. Not me, lads.
Yeah, look, I was always quietly concerned about Dundalk at the start of the season, but it's just gone belly up there.
Didn't think that would happen, to be fair.
No, I don't think anyone saw them being in a relegation battle. Do you know what I mean? And that's mad to even think. But no, they've got themselves there for next season. They won't be near that playoff spot, which is good for them. But I tell you one thing, Keith, it's a big couple of months in the off season for them. It really is, because if they don't get it right, if they don't get the management sorted, the club sorted, like
right owners,
right owners, you just be very concerned, you know. And like I just think that the important thing is they need to hold on to the lads that are still there, that have not actually left already, because again, like the likes of your Hubans, you know what I mean? Like you don't come across many of them in this country. Doesn't like just facts, like, do you know what I mean? Look, it's a tough one. It really is, and I'd like to see them come back and be some sort of competitive, but it is hard to know. And as I said, it's a big off season for them. So yeah, look, the game itself, didn't see it, Keith, so I'm not going to burn the ears off anyone in a sense of trying to bluff me way through it. So no, I didn't see the game as I said, but they're safe now, and I suppose that's all their fans will care about.
Yeah, from Waterford's point of view, they'll be a bit disappointed with the performance, to be honest, because they were poor enough on the night. As I said, Dundalk probably could have had a few more goals as well. But, we'll talk about Waterford as well. A little bit more detail in the preview show as well. So, guys, look, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new, and hit your bell notification button so you don't miss a video.
Champions!
I'm cutting that bit out.
Ole, ole, ole.